and I remember the day I went in to talk to Joe Gibbs about it. It was time to renegotiate my contract, and I got a call from Rick Hendrick, and he goes, "Hey, I have an opportunity you might be interested in." And I listened to Rick because Gene leased his motors from Rick, bought his chassis from Rick, and it was the opportunity to join Gene Haas and start SHR. So the day that I went in to tell Gibbs that I wasn't going to renew my contract, I mean, Joe was pissed, obviously. And toward the end of the conversation, the one thing that I told him that finally calmed him down, that he couldn't really argue with, was when I told him, I said, "Joe, this is my opportunity to be like you. I get to be an owner like you are." I said, I'm not going to get to drive forever, and I don't want to leave the sport when I quit driving. So this is my opportunity to be like you. And it was really hard for him. He still wasn't happy about it, and he still was mad about it, but he wasn't arguing with me about it at that point.
Well, and then you got to drive dirt racing again. I mean,
I
how
got to
much did
drive
Joe
as much
Gibbs?
as I wanted.
How much did he like? He didn't like it back then. That's when you had to do the Smoke
Uh,
Johnson deal, right? That's where the smoke was created, where Joe Gibbs wouldn't let you race, and
yeah.
you did a alias name to run the Chili Bowl. People forget this. I mean, out of sight, out of mind again. But
So obviously my nickname's Smoke, and I was standing there at the Chili Bowl on I think Friday night, and Greg Wilkie and Mark Wilkie and Paul McMahon. I can't remember who else. Lasowski was there. There were a bunch of us all hanging around, and Wilkie goes, "Hey, I got another car." He goes, "Why don't we just unload it and you can start at the tail of the mains tomorrow, and we'll just see how far you can get." Hell, I didn't have anything else planned. So Ted Johnson was there, and I said, "Well, it's too late to call Joe Gibbs to get permission." So I said, we're gonna have to come up with a different name. So Ted was, I think, the one that actually came up with Smoke Johnson. So I said I was his illegitimate kid at that point.
okay,
But yeah, we started at the tail. I don't remember how many mains they had, but I borrowed Paul McMahon's helmet. I think Dave Darland gave me a pair of shoes to wear, borrowed a uniform from somebody. But I remember one of the mains, I finished the main and I was going up the ramp, and somebody jumped out in front of me as I was driving up the ramp to stop me. Well, it was one of McMahon's guys, because he's in the lineup chute there with no helmet on, because he's got to go out for his hot lap session. And I'm coming off the track with his helmet on already. So poor Paul had to sit there and put this soaking wet helmet on that I've been wearing all afternoon through 3 or 4 mains to do his hot lap deal. But yeah, that is where it started. But Gibbs was not a fan. So Joe had a policy that if I wanted to go run something, I had to call him first. So I remember the first time I wanted to go run something, I bet I had to make 6 phone calls before I finally got a hold of Joe. And man, I mean, he made me feel so guilty for wanting to do it. But you got to remember, Joe was an NFL coach, and they don't let their players go out and play flag football
right.
and stuff, twist an ankle or screw something up, and they're out. And so Joe had that mentality, and so I went and ran the race. And the thing was, I had to call him after, let him know everything was fine. Did that, and the next time I went to call him, I got an opportunity like a day before the event, and I tried him like 3 times, and I'm like, I am not going to just sit here and just keep calling until I get him, and then have to listen to him complain on the phone about me going and racing. So I just went and did it. But I remember the day after, I got a phone call, and he goes, "Hey, did you go race last night?" I went, "Yeah." I said, "I did try to call you 3 times though, and didn't get you." But after that, I never even tried calling. I just went racing, and he did not like that at all. And I think it's one of the things that probably about my Cup career that doesn't show on a stat sheet that I'm really proud of, is that, guys like Kenny Schrader still went back and ran dirt. And I went back and ran dirt, and to the point to where then it was okay, kind of okay for everybody. And, till somebody gets hurt, and then everybody kind of tightens the reins back. But, now we're even seeing Joe Gibbs finally say, "I'm okay with it." And I think that's great for short track racing. I think it's a testament to what it really means brand wise, what these drivers mean. A Christopher Bell, a Kyle Larson, a Chase Briscoe, Alex Bowman, a lot of the Xfinity and truck guys that are going and running modifieds and stuff, like David Stremme running with him, and those guys, and Kenny Wallace.
Crafton.
There's a lot of guys doing it. Crafton does it. I feel like I had a hand in that. I feel like I helped change the culture of, it was taboo for the owners to let their drivers go race, and now it's accepted.
Well, and I think it's also a deal to do with popularity here recently. Kyle got it really popular when he had his situation and went and ran and won all the races he did, and then obviously starting the series and the social numbers. When you talk to a lot of people in the marketing departments, the social numbers of the dirt guys are usually bigger than most of the NASCAR drivers until you get to your elites like your Denny Hamlins and stuff like that. But they're right there beating 95% of the Cup field. Is that a part of it too? Like they see kind of the good, like we were saying, the good product, the good tasting burger is starting to get handed around to new people. So we got to get in there and kind of put our arm around it, in a way.
I don't know if it was I don't know if it was necessarily that. I mean, I know what my approach was. I mean, I was a racer and I wanted my guys to have the ability to go race, and I liked it from the standpoint, especially like a Pocono weekend, for example. We'd come and Pocono, you'd sit there and you'd do qualifying practice and qualifying on Friday, and then we'd haul ass to the airport, fly to Harrisburg, and drive down to Williams Grove and race Friday night. Come back to the track late, have two race practices on Saturday, and then I'd go take a nap in the motorhome after a shower and wait for the garage to close at 3 in the afternoon so that some of the crew guys could go. Then we'd haul ass back to the airport, fly up to Abbotsville and run Lincoln on Saturday night, and then fly back to the track. Race on Sunday, run the whole cup race, and then get on the plane, fly back to Harrisburg, and then go race at BAPS on Sunday night. And I just think I looked at it from the standpoint that if my car wasn't good on Friday when I qualified, it was easy to sit there and go, we're screwed all weekend. We're stuck here for 2 more days with a shitty race car that we're not going to be able to fix, and it's just going to be a long weekend. But then you could go to Williams Grove, and even if you didn't win the race or if you didn't even run in the top five, if you just had a good night, if you can go to PA and have a good night and run in the top 10, man, I showed up with a way better attitude on Saturday morning, and a lot of times it helped, and we were able to get the car a little better. But I think mentality wise, having drivers just racing all the time makes them better.
Right.
You take a Kyle Larson, that's why Kyle's so good. I mean, Kyle's racing all the time. Kyle Busch, I mean, it makes me so happy to see Kyle Busch racing dirt with his
Yeah.
kid. I mean, never used to do anything on dirt, and now he's ate up with it. And guys like Kenny Wallace that didn't do it. I mean, Kenny, if you could have exposed Kenny Wallace to dirt racing before NASCAR, he may not even have went to NASCAR. He's
Right.
having so much fun dirt racing. I love that part of it.
Ty
So
Gibbs, I mean, he gave a shot. I mean, he gave a shot. And I think that's risky for those guys to give a shot because, you know, the premise of a NASCAR driver being like this NFL level guy and the premise of this dirt stuff being this lower level stuff, like, began with the Shaheen deal. That's kind of the premise for him to come down here and potentially, put that reputation on the line. Because if you're in racing, if you get into a 410 wing sprint car and you come over here in the dirt world, you're in for a world of competition, trouble. The cars are difficult. But if you don't know, it could look like, why did this, big time guy just lose a YMCA football game? What happened there?
I, you bring up a good point of hurt your reputation, but I feel like there's more value and more opportunity for their reputation to grow if they don't even have to
Street
win a dirt
cred.
race.
Street cred.
Yeah. If they have a
It's a
decent
street
night
cred.
at a dirt race and have a respectable night, I guarantee you the dirt community is going, that was impressive.
Yeah.
And then they watch him on Sunday and root for him too, because they're like, this guy might be one of us now. So I don't know. I guess my mentality is different than some of the owners, but I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. I mean, Rick still lets his guys do it. Joe's letting his guys do it. Penske, I don't know if Penske will ever let it happen, to be honest, because if you think back, way back in the day, I mean, Gary Bentonhausen was driving for Penske and got hurt in a dirt race, and that was the end of it. And I don't think any Penske drivers you'll see get an opportunity to run dirt very much. But all in all, I feel like it's accepted now, and it's not a bad thing for these teams and to let their drivers go out and moonlight a little bit.